What's up guys, this is Nefarious Intent back for part 8 of the Minecraft 1.8 hacked client coding tutorial. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to code a command system for your hacked client, as well as a rainbow wave array list. So without further ado, let's open our Eclipse and get right into it. As always, this series is brought to you by Intent.store. If you're looking to get a premium Minecraft hack client, look no further. They have amazing clients. Link in the description. In order to get started making our command system, we need to make a new event. We can do that by opening our listeners package, and inside we're going to make a copy of one of our events, paste it back in, call it event chat. In here, we're just going to replace code with a string instead called message. We'll erase this existing boilerplate code and use the constructor generator, omitting the super call, and we'll create getters and setters. And save. Control S. Next, we'll close that and go to entityplayersp.class. Control Shift R to open this menu. We're going to do a search for send chat message. We're going to instantiate our method here by typing event chat, event equals new event chat, plugging in the argument, adding the extra semicolon, importing event chat, and checking to make sure the event has not been canceled. If event is canceled, then return. Then we'll replace this parameter occurrence here with event.getMessage and save and close entity player SP. Now we're going to create a new package inside of our intent package or whatever your client name package is called command. In here, we're going to create a new object class called command, and it's going to have a couple attributes. The first one will be the name, so a public string. The next one will be the description. The next one will be the syntax. We'll close it up with a semicolon. Then we're going to create a public list of strings called aliases. Set it equal to a new array list of the type string. Closing it up with parentheses and a semicolon as well. Importing from java.util and minimizing our imports. Then we'll auto-generate a constructor using fields while excluding aliases, omitting the call to super. Then at the end, we'll make a var args array of the type string to represent our aliases. Then at the end of our constructor, we'll set this .aliases equal to a new arrays as list aliases, which will capture our local variable var args array. Then we'll create getters and setters. Then we'll create a delegate method called public void on command with a string array for the arguments and a string for the command raw text. Next, we'll create a class called command manager. We're going to create a public list with the type command called commands equal to a new array list of the type command, parentheses and semicolon, save, import from java.util, minimize the imports, and we'll make a method called setup. In this method, we'll register new commands as we make them. So next, we want to make our first command. So I would recommend making a package in here called impl or implement, which will just contain all of our different commands. We can start with our first one, which should be a toggle command called just toggle. And as the super class, we can use command. Now what we'll notice is we're missing a constructor. So we have to make, just like we did with module, make a custom constructor for toggle, and then inside there, we're going to access the super constructor. So for toggle, the name is obviously toggle. The description, in my case, will just be toggles a module by name. The syntax will be toggle name. And for aliases, I'll include t. We should also go ahead and make the onCommand method in command.java abstract. That way it's required when we make a new command implementation. So we're going to start by adding the abstract modifier to our command class, as well as the abstract modifier to our onCommand method. We also have to remove the method body like so. And now in toggle, it'll require us to add unimplemented methods. And then in here, we'll handle our toggle command input. Next, we need to go to our command manager again and actually instantiate toggle into our list of commands. So we'll type commands dot add new toggle. Close it up with the parentheses and import. Then we save. Now we need to make another method in Command Manager called public void handle chat. And as the parameters for the input, it's going to have an event chat called event, and we can import that here. Now we'll isolate the message that was sent in chat by creating a new string local variable called message. And it's going to be equal to event.getMessage. Then we're going to create a new string called command name, and this will be equal to message.split space bracket 0. But before this, we need to open up some space and say if message.split space length is greater than 0. Then we'll add some brackets here to make this part of the if statement body. We'll indent with tab, and we'll open up some more space in here. Now we'll say for command C out of commands, if C.aliases contains command name, then C.onCommand. Then we need to say message.split space, and then at the beginning of that we'll say arrays.copy of range. We'll erase these auto-generated parameters, and then we're going to say 1 as the second argument and message.split space length as the third argument. Then we'll close up the parenthesis, and then for the command parameter we'll say message. Then we'll save. And before I continue, we need to establish a prefix variable. We're going to put it at the top of Command Manager called public string prefix, and in my case I'm going to set it equal to period. You can set it to whatever you want. Next we'll say after message, if message starts with prefix return, and then we'll negate that with the exclamation point. Make sure to use the exclamation point because it's very critical. And then we'll say message equals message dot substring, plug in our prefix length, and then close it up with a semicolon and save. Now we're ready to implement this into our actual client onEvent method. So at the top of onEvent in client, you're going to want to say if instance of event chat import. And we're also going to need to instantiate Command Manager into our client instance. So we're going to say public static command manager equals new command manager. Import, then copy the name and paste it down here and say handle chat E. And we're going to cast this as an event chat with the parentheses like so. Now we'll populate the body of our toggle command and make it actually work. In toggle, we're going to say if arguments dot length is greater than 0, then continue. We're going to say string module name equals args bracket 0, and that'll give us the first array entry, which will be the module name in the command. Then we're going to say for module out of client.modules and import module. If module.name equals ignore case module name module.toggle, and then save. And if we want to be cute, we can add a little chat message as well that lets us know what just happened and if it failed. So we'll create a boolean up here called boolean found module, and we'll set it equal to false by default. Then we'll say when module is toggled, found module equals true, and we'll break from this loop. And then I realized that we also haven't added a way for our client to interface with the Minecraft chat. So we'll go back into client and we'll make a method at the bottom called public static void add chat message. And we'll make the parameter string message, open that up, and we'll say Minecraft.getMinecraft.thePlayer.add chat message. And then we'll say new chat component text, and then inside we'll plug in messages and import. If we want to make this chat message method also append our client name and maybe some formatting or color codes as well, we can do that by at the beginning saying message equals message, and then before that we'll say the name of our client plus space plus the message. And if we want to add a color, I'll just do our client color, which has been a blue. We'll open up some string here and we're going to say \247, which gives us our subsection character. And for the blue color we're looking for, I'm going to go with the number 9, which you can find when you look up a Minecraft color code chart. And we're going to add that to the name, and then we're also going to say after the name we're going to put a colon there. Before the colon, /247 and then 7 to give us a sort of gray color. And then we can save. Then we'll go back to toggle and we'll say when the module is toggled, client.add chat message. And then we're going to do something advanced. We're going to do another ternary operator statement like I think we've done in previous videos. We're going to say module.isEnabled. And then if it has just been enabled, in this case, that would be the case, then we're going to say enabled. Otherwise, we're going to say disabled. And then we're going to wrap our statement with parentheses and then add a blank space. And then we're going to say module.name. Then at the end of this, we're going to say if found module not with the exclamation point, then we're going to say client.add chat message could not find module. And save. Before we continue, we also need to go to command manager and extend our constructor. So public command manager. And then inside that, we just want to say setup. I made a mistake. We need to actually call this event. It's simple. We just do client.onEvent and then paste it in and then save. Now, if we go to our client, we can type .t fly and it'll toggle fly. We also can notice that it said the message we just typed in chat, which is something we don't want to do. So we're going to take advantage of our event is canceled method by going to our command manager and then saying event.setCanceledTrue and then save that. And if we type the message again and send it, as you can see, no chat message went into chat other than the one that's on our client side. We can also test it out on a couple different modules and using a different alias for our command, such as toggle killara, which didn't work. I also forgot to make sure that we not only check if the aliases contains a command name, but if the c.name equals ignore case, the command name. And if I save that and we type the original non-alias version of the command name, it should work. We also want to make a message pop up that tells us when a command we typed doesn't exist. And we can do that similar to how we did the modules, which involves us making space up here, making a Boolean called found command and setting it equal to false. And then when an on command statement is triggered, we say true and we break from the loop. And then at the bottom, we say if found command not, then client.add chat message could not find command. And if we test that out by typing some random letters after the dot, could not find command. We can now also make a bind command by copying our toggle command, paste it back into the implement package, call it bind, and then we'll go into bind and we'll rename it to bind and say binds a module by name, change the usage to bind name key and taking the alias B instead of T. We'll also make another type of command with a different argument length called clear. And what that'll allow us to do is clear all the binds with one command. So we're going to rewrite this entire on command method body. In this case, we're going to say if args.length equals 2, then we know it's a bind command. And if args.length equals 1, we know it's a clear command. Probably. So then for the clear command, we'll say if args.0 equals ignore case clear, then we know it's a clear command for sure. And then we can say for module out of client.modules module.keycode.set keycode to 0. Or if we want to make our code very obvious, keyboard.key none. We'll also make a chat message at the bottom by typing client.add chat message and then saying cleared all binds. Now for our individual module binding, we're going to make a local string variable called string module name. And we're going to set it equal to args0. And then we're going to make another string local variable called key name. And we're going to set it equal to args1. Then we're going to say for module out of client.modules. If module.name equals ignore case module name, then we're going to break from the statement afterwards, but we're also going to say module.keycode set keycode keyboard.getKeyIndex, and then we're going to plug our key name in. Then we can add a chat message telling us what module we bound with client.add chat message. And then we're going to try something new, which is going to be string.format. And we're going to say bound %s to %s. And then in the arguments var args array, we're going to type module.name and then comma keyboard.getKeyName module.getKey. and then we'll save. We'll also need to go into Command Manager and instantiate bind, import. We're also going to need to convert our key name to uppercase by typing to uppercase. And then when we type a command with a key code involved, even if the key code is lowercase, it'll make it uppercase. And then as we can see, killara was successfully bound to B, no longer X. And if I want to change it back to X, I can just do that. And then it's back on X. And I can also type bind if I want to type the longer statement, and it'll also work, as you can see. But what happens if we type in a module that doesn't exist? Nothing. So we need to make another similar statement to our toggle command that has a found variable and then tells us whether or not it found anything. So we'll do that at the beginning, and we'll say boolean.found module equals false. And then in here, we're going to say that it equals true. And at the end, we'll say if it doesn't equal true, then client.add chat message could not find module. And then we can test it out by repeating our command, could not find module. We can also test our bind clear command by typing bind clear or .b clear. And then it says cleared all binds, and we can test by pressing all of our hotkeys and nothing's there. If we also want to make a .info command, we can copy our toggle command once again, paste it into implement, and call it info. And then we'll change the name of the command to info, displays client information as its description. And then we'll just change this to info and I for short. Then we'll erase all this method body and we'll say just simply client.add chat message. If you want to restate your client name after the command, that's fine, but you could just say client.version and then by your developer name, like by Nefarious. And then we can implement it with Command Manager. Make sure to choose the right one because there's this other import called jcraft jorbis, and this has nothing to do with our client. So make sure you pull it from your own package and then save, and we can run the client. So then in chat, if we type .info or .I, we'll get tutorial 1 by Nefarious. And to fix that, I'm just going to add V at the beginning and then add that in and save, and we'll get tutorial V1 by Nefarious. We'll also make a .say command, so you can say things that you couldn't normally say because of the period in case a moderator pressures you or in a screen share or something. So we're going to call our new command say, and then we'll copy this here, and we'll make it say says things in chat, make it .say and s, and then we'll say minecraft.getMinecraft.theplayer.sendQ.add to sendQ, and we'll say new CO1 packet chat message, and then inside we'll say string.join space args, and then we'll import the chat message packet and hit save. Then we'll go to our command manager and instantiate it and import save and run the client. Now when we type .say or .s, we can say literally anything, and we can include dots at the beginning that would normally cause commands to go off, and we can send the chat messages and it works perfectly. And if a moderator was trying to catch you using your client, they could say type.bind, and under normal circumstances you wouldn't be able to say that, but because of .say, you would be able to say that. Now we can go into our HUD and improve our rainbow effect on our array list to make it a chroma wave instead of being all the same color at once. So we'll do that by going to our HUD and then going to our get rainbow method in color util and making a duplicate of it. And then we're going to add an extra argument called int index. And then we're going to add to our system current time milliseconds right here and save. We're also going to want to make this a long, that way our long math doesn't have a mistake. Then we can close color util and change this statement right here to get rainbow, but with one more caveat. We're going to add count in there and multiply it by a pretty sizable number like 1,000 and see what happens. Then we'll run our client. Now with all our modules enabled, we can see the rainbow effect is a little bit too far apart on each of them, so we can reduce this number and save and see what the difference is. And yeah, you can see there's a rainbow wave here. It's not too absurd, but it certainly is functional and you can tell there's a difference. If you want to make it a little bit more extreme, you can multiply it by 200. Now that's pushing the limit a little bit, so maybe something around 150. Make it whatever you want. I think 150 is good for me, so I'm going to save it. Also, if you want to make this text, instead of being white, actually being the same color, you can just copy this method right here and paste it where the -1 is. And then our array list is very colorful instead of having a bunch of white. But that's up to you. I prefer the look of white because it makes the rainbow pop more and it gives the client some color diversity. This concludes part 8 of the Minecraft 1.8 hacked client coding tutorial, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.